We really work together with a team to build communities. Over half the people in the town live in a place that we've designed, which is pretty cool.
Hello everyone, I'm Rick Jenkins, the publisher of SC Biz. We're the media company that serves 100,000 business executives throughout South Carolina. Welcome to SC Biz TV and another episode in our ongoing video series, Coffee With. Today I'm having coffee with Jason Munday. Jason is the managing principal at SeamonWhiteside, a civil engineering and landscape architecture firm. Founded in '85, the firm now has offices in Mount Pleasant and Greenville and Spartanburg and a few other places, and we're going to talk all about it. Here to join me now is Jason Munday. Jason, welcome.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for having me.
It is good to have you here. Now, you told me a minute ago that you came all the way over here from Charleston today.
Yes, sir.
But you got an office in Greenville, and our studio, as some of you know, is located in Greenville. So you got other things to do, right?
Oh, no. I love coming up to the offices. I love visiting Greenville. And like you mentioned, we have several offices, Spartanburg, Somerville, and then Charlotte.
Right. That's right. And we'll talk about that in a sec. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about you for a minute. Where are you from?
I'm from Griffin, Georgia.
You're from Griffin? Where is Griffin?
Yes, and I always lead off with Griffin because great town, but south of Atlanta, north of Macon, kind of middle of the state.
I got you. Yeah. And if I recall right, you are a Georgia Bulldog.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Do you find that you have to, here, do you got to get on that South Carolina train or a Clemson train every now and then, or are you just a Bulldog and the heck with the rest of it?
Yeah, there's no train to get on there, sir.
I hear you, man.
I'm on the Georgia train.
I respect that. I respect that. I'm originally from Kentucky, although I've been a South Carolinian for 17 years, and so I'm a Kentucky Wildcat at heart, so I know where you're coming from. You went to Georgia, and I wanted to ask you this. You got a degree in biological engineering, and I got to read this, with an emphasis on environmental and biological systems engineering. Jason, how does somebody go to college and decide that's what I want to do?
Yeah, very interesting story there. So actually, the start of my college career, majored in biology with aspirations of going into medicine.
All right.
And organic chemistry helped change my mind.
Oh, gosh.
Where I switched to business.
Right.
But I had an internship back home. I talked to the plant manager, and he asked me what I was doing for my major. And I told him business, and he said, you can teach a engineer to be a businessman, but you can't teach a businessman to be an engineer. Yeah. So with that advice, I went back, changed my major to engineering. I've always had a love for biology, really the outdoors in general.
Right.
So decided to blend the two.
I got you.
Yeah.
Speaking of blended two things together, SeamonWhiteside founded in, 86? Is that right?
85.
85, okay. And so you're 36 years into this thing. And you all, I find it interesting, you all are a combination of a landscape architecture firm and a civil engineering firm. And we talked about this a little bit ago. To me, that doesn't seem like two things that are often found under the same roof, but tell me about that. How did that come about?
So our founding principals, Kenny Seaman, who is deceased, but also Stuart Whiteside, they had a vision. They came together in '85 and decided to blend landscape architecture, civil engineering to create this a platform to where we blend civil engineering, landscape architecture, so form and function,
right,
and really create more communities where people live,
exactly.
Not just a development.
Yeah, and there was something on your website that I saw and was looking at before you came in here, and I found it really interesting. You blend civil engineering and landscape architecture to create holistic environments for people, and then it talks about holism. Tell me what holism is.
Holism is going back to the idea of creating a community, a livable place.
Right.
Places that we not only have all our creature comforts, the water, the sewer, turn on the spigot, water pours out of the faucet, but it's a place that you can actually enjoy life.
Right.
And that's what we like to create.
Love that. So let's talk about creating. You've created and created for 36 years now. You've got 5 offices. Have I got that right? Let me see if I can get them. Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Greenville, Spartanburg, and somewhat recently Charlotte, North Carolina. Do I got it?
That's correct.
And how many employees now?
Total employees 140.
140
And growing.
employees and growing.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about these offices. I mean, Somerville's not too far from Mount Pleasant, and what is the strategical value of these offices where they are?
So the home office, we were founded in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We've worked on Nexton, which is a development in Somerville. Mm-hmm. Originally, the Somerville office, the intent of it was to provide a place that was close to Nexton. And I can talk about Nexton a little bit. It's more of the showpiece for our company, where we can blend all of the sectors really, and created that form and function that we just talked about previously, and a very livable place. So Somerville was strategic in that fashion, where Somerville is growing. Charleston is somewhat an anomaly in the development. There's not a 360 circle that you can develop in. You've got the Atlantic Ocean on one side, so
Right.
Everything grows up I-26. So that was really a strategy behind.
And Charlotte, 2 years ago, you go into North Carolina. It is 2 years ago, right?
That's correct.
And what went into that decision going into Charlotte?
So looking at marketplaces and just studying our next move, we are a young, energetic company that looking for growth opportunities. We had a large portion of our client base doing work in Charlotte, based in Charlotte. A lot of our partners, architects that we work with, were in Charlotte. And so we saw Charlotte as an opportunity to take a step across the state line and take our business into a new state.
You do business, though, throughout the Southeast?
Yes, we do. We do.
How much of your business, though, is South Carolina?
The majority, I would say 95% of our business would be in South Carolina.
And then projects here and there.
Yeah. Now with the opening of North Carolina office, we do have quite a bit of projects there as well.
Yeah.
So
speaking of projects, you all do work with all kinds of sectors, right? I mean, we're talking commercial and residential and mixed use and hospitality and on and on. You got a sweet spot in there somewhere, something that is unique to you, something that is really what you excel at?
Historically, we've been, of residential. Residential has been our bread and butter, whether it's single-family subdivisions, multifamily, and even mixed-use type projects. Here recently, and I say recent, within the past 5-6 years, we've really ramped up our efforts and become a known name in the industrial realm too. And so probably our biggest sectors now are industrial, single family, and multifamily in this current market.
Right. You go to your website and you see all kinds of cool pictures of the projects that you all have done. And, there were a few of them that stood out to me. Nexton, of course, being one which you just mentioned. And I'm not familiar with Nexton, so I want to talk about that in a second. But you also did Camp Hall and the County Square project in Greenville. Mm-hmm. But tell me again about Nexton. What if I go there? What am I going to see?
If you go to Nexton, that is a showpiece for SeamonWhiteside. That's where we actually took our abilities and capabilities of both landscape architecture, civil engineering. You'll find mixed-use communities, commercial, hotels, multifamily, office. But we really showcase the idea of live, work, play.
Right. How many acres are we talking?
About 5,000.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't realize it was that large. The County Square project in Greenville. Tell me about that.
So County Square project is a mixed-use project downtown Greenville. And, for that one, again, great project, a place where people live, work, play, and people utilize it and love that project.
Mixed use is becoming more and more popular these days, right? I mean, Greenville has has done a wonderful job, I think, of mixed-use projects over the last, 10, 15 years, but Charleston as well. Do you all find that you're much more involved in those types of projects?
Yes, we're doing a lot of mixed use projects, and whether they're vertically integrated or horizontally, and yes, they're very popular.
Yep. I noticed that philanthropy is important to SeamonWhiteside. If you go on your website, there's lots of things on there that talks about it. And it also talks about you all incenting your employees to be involved in the community. Why is that so important to you guys? Is it back to that holistic approach in a way?
Yes, just like we design great communities, create great places to live, we also want to give back to those communities as well.
Right.
So, one thing we're involved in is the Green Heart in Charleston, and that's where we go into schools. We create urban gardens,
Yeah.
and a lot of our employees are a part of that, and it's just a way we can give back.
Urban gardens. Tell me what that looks like.
So an urban garden, it's basically a big planter where you can grow your vegetables, and it's really exciting especially with schools, for kids to get into actually enjoying and growing in an urban environment as well.
Mentorship program. You all do a mentorship program for entry-level folks when they get hired. What does that look like?
Yeah, so mentorship is a huge component to our company. We put a big emphasis on it. From entry level, we have a great internship program where we recruit from Clemson, great school to recruit from, South Carolina. So we recruit a lot from our South Carolina schools, University of Georgia, and into North Carolina too now. But for our entry level hires, we like to teach them what we like to call the SeamonWhiteside way in our approach. And so we assign them a mentor, whether it's an engineer, landscape architect, where they learn our way, which is the holistic way.
Not only do you have that mentorship program for the entry-level hires, but you also have another mentorship program for people who are looking to be future leaders, right?
Yes, we've recently instituted a senior level mentorship program to where we saw the need where we were doing a great job with teaching our engineers and our landscape architects the technical aspects of what they do.
Right.
But there's also, for our aspiring leaders, they want to learn more of the business side, and it's important to our business that they do too. So anywhere from business development to human resources, to any other corporate function that we do, contract reviews. So we really take a deep dive into that. We actually assign a senior level mentor, and the program consists of anywhere from 4 to 6 people, lasts for 6 months. And we have one-on-one sessions. We have guest speakers that come in to really reinforce what it is to be a more senior level and a business person and not just an engineer.
How many engineers?
Total engineers, wow. You kind of threw me off with that question a little bit of the 140. But
right.
Yeah, I would say the majority, I'd say about 80% of our company engineers.
Right.
20% landscape architects.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Jason, we were talking earlier, and you said something really interesting to me. You all have an employee, and I know you all encourage employees to do this, but you have an employee. I'm sorry I forget her name, but you'll tell me in a second. And she wrote an article called 5 Trends for Working in a Male-Dominated Industry. I believe you all pushed that out on social media in a variety of ways. Who was that?
That was Frances Yarborough.
Yeah.
And yes, she's one of our rock star engineers in Charlotte. But going back to that article, we have 38% female employees.
Right.
And so we've started what we call a women's initiative within our company, where, really what we want to do is promote the inclusion in our company.
Right.
Promote, women in leadership as well. We would like to support them in leadership and their growth professionally.
Yep, I hear you. 38% women employees at SeamonWhiteside. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That seems to be a good number. I don't know this, and we'll do a little research after this to find out for sure. But to me, that seems to be a good number for an engineering firm. Is it?
Yes. Historically, engineering and construction in general
Right.
is a male-dominated industry.
That's right.
I think through a lot of the STEM programs and just a lot of talented minds in the females and perspective as well,
Right.
and approach.
Yeah.
So really going back to educating our industry in general of an inclusive environment to where, I think that's what makes us stand apart.
But I got one more thing for you before we take off. This is the 25th episode of Coffee With. You are the 25th person that I have sat down with and had coffee with, and I appreciate you. So I don't know what we're going to do. We'll probably let you keep that coffee mug or something.
Yeah, I was hoping for a prize.
Right. We'll give you a couple coffee mugs or something. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Folks,
Thanks.
Jason Munday, managing principal at SeamonWhiteside. And stick around on SC Biz TV and see if there's anything else you might want to watch, including 24 past episodes of Coffee With. We'll see you next time.